Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Radharan Mati, when you're ready, you can start, Mati.
Sure. Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, Vidura approaches Maitreya, from the text 13. O Uddhava, in the lotus millennium in the days of yore, at the beginning of the creation, I spoke unto Brahma, who is saturated on the lotus that grows out of my navel, about my transcendental glories, which the great sages described as Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 14. Uddhava said, O Vidura, when I was thus favored at every moment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and addressed by him with great affection, my words failed in tears, and the hairs on my body erupted after smearing my tears. I, with the folded hands, spoke like this. Text 15. O my Lord, devotees who engage in the transcendental loving service of your lotus feet have no difficulties in achieving anything within the realm of the four principles of the religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. But, O Great One, as far as I am concerned, I have preferred only to engage in the loving service of your lotus feet. Text 16. My Lord, even the learned sages became disturbed in their intelligence when they see that your greatness engage in the fruitive work, although you are free from all desires, that you take birth, although you are unborn, that you feel out of the fear of the enemy and take shelter in a fort, although you are the controller of the invisible time, and that you enjoy the householder's life surrounded by many women, although you enjoy in yourself. Text 17. O my Lord, your eternal self is never divided by the influence of the time, and there is no limitation to your perfect knowledge. Thus, you are sufficiently able to consult with yourself. Yet, you called upon me for the consultation as if bewildered, although you are never bewildered, and this act of yours bewilders me. Text 18. My Lord, kindly explain to us if you think us competent to receive it, that transcendental knowledge which gives enlightenment about yourself and which you explained before to the Brahmaji. Text 19. When I thus expressed my heartfelt desire unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the lotus-eyed Lord instructed me about his transcendental situation. Text 20th. I have studied the path of the understanding self-knowledge from my spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, and thus, after circumambulating him, I have come to this place very much aggrieved due to the separation. Text 21. My dear Vidura, now I am mad for what to pleasure of seeing him, and just to mitigate this, I am now proceeding to Badrikashramam in the Himalayas for association, and I have been instructed by him. Text 22. There in Badrikashramam, the personality of Godhead in his incarnation has the sage Nara and Narayana has been undergoing great penance since time immemorial for the welfare of all enable living entities. Text 23. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, after hearing from Uddhava all about the inhalation of his friend and relatives, the learned Vidura pacified his overwhelming bereavement by dint of his transcendental knowledge. Text 24. While Uddhava, the chief and the most confidential among us, the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and confidence, questioned him. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madai. Yeah, Sundarācala Prabhu, you can start when you're ready.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Happy Radhashtami, dear devotees. I'll start with brief prayers. Today we will discuss about canto number 3, chapter number 4, Vidura approaches Maitreya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. In the third canto at a glance, I'm referring to Subodhini. I'll just give an overview what was being discussed. So in the part A, the meeting of Uddhava between Uddhava and Vidura. That's a meeting discussed from first chapter to fourth chapter of the third canto. So in first chapter, actually Parikshit asks a question to Sukadeva about the Vidura Maitreya Samvada, the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. And and the first chapter being insulted by Duryodhana, Vidura gave up his house, goes for pilgrimage, meets Uddhava, and inquires from him about Krishna, the Yadus and the Kurus. And from second to the fourth chapter, Uddhava remembers Krishna's pastimes in and outside of Vrindavana and informs Vidura about the Yadus' disappearance. So Uddhava directs Vidura to Maitreya for enlightenment. So Vidura meets Maitreya at Haridwar. So this is a Vaishnava etiquette that Uddhava has exhibited of directing senior Vaishnava towards another senior Vaishnava for enlightenment. So it's called Maryada Vitikrama. So when we look at a bird's view of what was discussed till fourth chapter, Vidura, after approaching Maitreya, so the topics of disappearance of Yadus was discussed. The Yadus drank liquor and became delirious, destroyed each other by the influence of Lord's Maya. And at Dwaraka, the Lord told Uddhava to go to Badrikashram, but Uddhava followed him to Prabhasa and saw Krishna sitting under a banyan tree. So actually Krishna already informed him while he was in conversation at Dwaraka to go to Badrikashrama. And again, because of the opportunity, we happen to hear the conversation of Maitreya, presence of Maitreya and Uddhava together at Pravasa Kshetra also. So Maitreya arrived there out of his own accord when it happened. So Uddhava was in conversation with Krishna, association with Krishna. The Lord was more attentive to Uddhava, knowing your desire of my association, I award it. So he was a Vasu, one of the Vasus, right? It was just yesterday, as Krishna Das Prabhu was explaining. This is your last life. I spoke the Chatusloki to Brahma. That's how Krishna responds. Overwhelmed Uddhava glorified and prayed to the Lord. That's the topic we are going to discuss today. So actually, ninth verse is when actually in this chapter, fourth chapter, Maitreya entrance was mentioned. As you can see, Dvaipayana Suhrut Sakha, that was his first quality. He is the best friend of Vyasadeva. And then Sakha Lokan, he is the best friend of the whole living entities. Anucharan Siddha, so he is traveling as a mandicant, as a sannyasi. That is his ashrama. And the fourth quality that is described about Maitreya was Yadruchaya. He was not that someone has impelled him, but he's traveling it by his own perfect accord. So he happened to meet Lord Krishna by his own accord. That's the key point. So yesterday till 12th verse it was discussed. So Krishna guaranteeing Uddhava as part of that verse, your present life is the last, and you can come to Vaikunta by leaving this universe. So Lord was confirming this when he was about to conclude his pastime. So it is mentioned Lord's appearance and disappearance should not be considered to be an ordinary affair. So then Krishna mentions in that verse that your visit to me is because of your pure and unflinching devotion. Yanman rulokan raha utsrujantam dishtya dadarshavan vishadanuvritya. So that is what Krishna confirms here, that Uddhava is a pure devotee. So at this point, when Krishna has left all the opulences, benedictions, boons of Dwaraka, everything else behind, Uddhava could have lost interest if he was a regular person. Since there is no exhibition of any opulence, Uddhava could have lost interest. But because what he gets from Krishna is no longer available. But the fact that he is still chasing Krishna, although Krishna has gone to a secluded place without any of his manifested opulences, having declared that he is going to cut off from all of that. So this shows that Uddhava is a pure devotee and he is interested only in Krishna. So actually, there are four types of people that we come across. So a karmi is a materialist who is interested only in Krishna's energies. So what Krishna can give, what can I get from Krishna? So karma mishra bhakta, I will serve Krishna, but Krishna also gives me something. So for my pleasure, I don't want everything for myself. Let's have 50-50. So that is karma mishra bhakta. I serve Krishna, he also takes care of me. Some perks, some benefits. So some partnership should be there. So those are demigods, karma mishra bhaktas. They are very much enamored by energies also. And the third category is impersonalists, monists, who think Krishna and the energies don't exist. And everything is one, no energies. It is all in all impersonal. So God is impersonal. That is their opinion.
And there is a fourth category. Then there is a devotee who accepts Krishna with all his energies, but he's not at all interested in the energies, but only Krishna. He's approaching Krishna only through internal energies. So Krishna approaches, Uddhava approaches Krishna in a lonely, secluded place because ultimately he was interested only in Krishna, as we discussed. So, not what I can get from Krishna, but just for association. So with association, we get aspirations. In our relationship with Krishna, we should try to refine our consciousness that I can do serve Krishna and not meditate what I can get benefits from Krishna. But if we look deeper, actually Krishna is at a point in a state where practically all Dwaraka is collapsing. He couldn't even maintain his. That's what people think. Many rumors could float, right? So right now we are hardly affected by that incident right now discussing in the Zoom call. But imagine 5,000 years ago, this is the greatest shocking incident on the planet. That whole Yadava Vamsh is destroyed in a state of intoxication. So how many rumors could have been floated on what happened, right? You know what happened. It could be interpreted as Krishna's failure. He couldn't even maintain his Dwaraka properly. It is collapsed. He couldn't manage it. We have told him not to grow so much. Like that, people might start spreading rumors. He didn't listen to us, right? So and so. Oh, and how could such a great devotees get intoxicated? Yadus, I thought there are devotees of Krishna. How could they get intoxicated? Right now we have commentaries of acharyas and explanations, so we have a perfect clarity on what is happening, fortunately. But in that situation there is a full of confusions and chaos. So many people, so many views on what happened. Uddhava, if you see, was the only person who was with Krishna at the time. What kind of renunciation Krishna is demonstrating? He has perfect clarity that by withdrawing Dwaraka and Yadava dynasty like this, Krishna exhibited the supreme renunciation, Vairagya. So one of his 6 opulences. He knows this is going to create rumors and give a lot of fuel to further speculations in future. Lots of theories to float. For anyone to see this entire empire crumbling is one of the greatest shocks, causes distress. But that is in the material world. But for Krishna, he actually routinely does it. He repeatedly creates material world and he also destroys it. He breathes out and breathes in. So he's not much detached at all. So Uddhava is associating with Krishna at this situation. Now he explains about Bhagavatam in the 13th verse. What is the most important gift which Krishna has left behind? Although he may manifest or may unmanifest, but knowledge about Krishna remains shining constantly. So that is Bhagavatam. So the 13th verse says, Pruramaya proktam ajayanabhye padme nishannaya mamadi sarge jnanam paramam mahima vibhabhyasam yatsurayo bhagavatam vadante. At the beginning of creation, Krishna spoke about his transcendental glories. The first 4 verses called Chatusloki was spoken to Brahmaji. So the 14th verse says, Ityadrutokta paramasya pumsa patikshananugraha bhajanoham snehottharoma skalitaksharastam munchan chucha pranjalirabhabhase. So Uddhava was saying, Oh Vidura, when I was thus favored at every moment by Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So actually Krishna addressed with great affection. So his Uddhava's words failed in tears, and his hairs has erupted on his body. So he started smearing his tears with folded hands. He started speaking and speaking about Lord Krishna. So you can imagine, for someone who has spent an entire life in the association with Krishna, just facing an impending separation. Such a pain is covered beautifully by Vyasadeva in this verse, 13th verse. 14th verse. Pratikshananugraha bhajanoham. Anugraha bhajana. So he's mentioning, I was an object of favor at every moment. Snehotharomos khalitaksharas. Due to affection, hairs on the body erupted. Words failing in tears. Such a beautiful description. Munchan chucha pranjalir abhavase. After wiping his tears, spoke like this. It is very emotional moment for Uddhava, as Krishna is preparing him as his emissary, who is deputed to preach, to go to Badrikashram and share knowledge with sages at Badrikashram. So Uddhava is being given a mission by Krishna to carry out a mission in separation. Is a matter of great lamentation. But at the same time, because the mission is for ultimate benefit of the society, it is very glorious. So therefore, here there is an example of devotee who is being prepared to carry out a mission in separation. As you know, the mission of Lord is absolute, as many of the Prabhujis were doing in Bhakti Vrukshas at home. And there are a lot of missionary activities going in our temple, where devotees are sincerely outreaching and explaining the message of Krishna. That is a mission. In personal association, we prepare ourselves by receiving the necessary inspiration. So in separation of Krishna, right, mission doesn't stop, it continues, remembering the moments of the association with the inspirations derived from that previous association. So here you can observe it. Uddhava's emotions are very genuine, but he does not let his emotions slacken in his sense of duty. Therefore, devotees are allowed to be emotional, but never allowed to cloud their dutifulness. The dutifulness, in order to spread the message of the Lord and to continue the services, could never be allowed to stop or clouded by emotions. So we can express our emotions, but we should not express doubts about our mission of Krishna consciousness. We cannot express our doubts about the mission. So Uddhava is not bargaining with Krishna. Please take me with you. It is impossible that I can exist without you. He could say that, but he never said that. But Uddhava desired one thing, aligning his desire with the God's desire of going to Badrikashram and start to preach. So desiring, you continue and become my missionary, you continue to give my knowledge to sages. Uddhava, out of gratitude, expressing his feelings to the Lord. Knowing that these are the last few words, he will be able to speak to Krishna in the pastime. So with a choking voice, with a deep emotion, expression, he starts to speak the following verses from verse 15. Kunvishate pada saroja bhajam sudurlabho artheshu chatusvapiya tathapi naham pravrunomi bhuman bhavat padam bhoja nishevanochukaha tathapi naham pravrunomi bhuman. O great one, as far as I am concerned, I have preferred bhavat padamboja nishevanochukaha. I'm anxious only to engage in the loving service of your lotus feet. Otherwise, he is expressing his desires. I do not desire salokya, sarupya, samipya, sarishti, muktis. I don't want to be in the same abode like that. That's not my goal. My goal is loving service unto you. In another way, we can understand this chatushvapiha as not just sarishti samipya muktis, but also as in dharmartha kama moksha. But Uddhava is not expressing any and not desiring any of these. So in the next verse, he is explaining apparent contradictions in Lord's qualities. How the Lord is practically impossible to understand. How the Lord's qualities have contradictions inherently. So how Lord's activities by nature are designed to separate the faithless from faithful. The Lord performs activities in a way that they are like kind of activities are kind of like an entrance steps with themselves. Only who are qualified pass through, they pass and they get access. Remaining just seeing the contradictions get so many doubts. They have to leave exam hall and they don't even bother to write the exam also. So only thing he is looking for, Krishna, is the faith. 16th verse. Karmanyani hasya bhavo bhavasyate durga shrayo athari bhayat phalayanam kalatmano yet padamada pramada yutashrimaha swatma rate khirayati dhir vidhamiha. Even great sages became disturbed in their intelligence. So contradictions, everything has a purpose. Even contradictions also have a purpose here. To make sure anyone who is using logic is out. Anyone using logic and reason wants a proper cause and effect analysis. Right? People with intelligence and logic, what they're looking for? They're looking for two things: consistency and pattern. Consistent pattern. So when we see a consistent pattern, it is seen as truth. It is not, it is seen as believable and it is seen as acceptable. So Lord specifically want to convey a message in this verse that I am not accessible for those who are using only intelligence or brain. I'm not understood through use of intellect. Therefore, he will perform pastimes in a way that use of logic will completely fail. Use of reason will fail. You put 2 + 2, something else will come out and we get bewildered. So what are some contradictory pastimes of Krishna you might recollect? Damodara Leela, he keeps crying. Rudantam muhur netram yugmam mujantam. When all the devotees are crying for him, he's asking, who will remove my tears? Like he is actually asking back his devotees, who will remove my tears? So that is a contradiction. So Lord killed Kamsa, put Ugrasena on the throne, and he's requesting Ugrasena in submission. And he was very gentle. He was very submissive to Ugrasena, though he actually put enthroned him. And there is a Ranchod pastime. He defeated Jarasandha 17 times and he ran away from him. Even Jarasandha is bewildered. What's going on? So out of fear of Kamsa, although he is a fear personified, he leaves Mathura to go to Vrindavan. That is another contradiction. This is all cowherd boys entering, feels anxiety, and that bewilders Brahma. Because someone is bewildered. Supreme Lord is beyond bewilderment, right? Who is this then? Like that, even Brahma gets bewildered. Krishna is defeated by Sri Dhama and Krishna is lifting Govardhan, little boy. So cowherd boys are massaging his arms. They are thinking because of our massaging, Krishna is able to lift Govardhan. That is a big contradiction. So Krishna is eternal, but he manifests his disappearance pastime. That is a big shock. A lot of people keep on even rumoring nowadays, even till now, people still talk about it. How could Krishna disappear? He must be a normal man, human being. Syamantak jewel pastime, he is actually very famous that even sages glorify him. But he was cursed and his character is being questioned. How does this tell to us that what it tells to us is Krishna is also getting criticized by his own people. and he's a supreme controller, but acts submissive to his wife at Dwaraka. That is another big contradiction. So it's like so on. So many Krishna's pastimes are so bewildering. All of these contradictions are ultimately meant for distilling most faithful into holy blessings of devotional service. The price is very high, only Shraddha. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasha Kahe Sudhrudha Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krutahaya. Only based on Shraddha, one can actually understand Krishna. So, in the 17th verse, it is mentioned, Lord is never divided by influence of time. Actions of Lord appear to be contradictory, although there is no contradiction at all. Therefore, it is better to see them as they are and not attempt to explain them nor analyze them. Lesson is only to appreciate, not to attempt to analyze those activities. So doubters, skeptics analyze Krishna activities to discredit the Krishna's personality and credibility, whereas devotees accept Krishna as it is to appreciate his omnipotence. So omnipotence. Therefore, in 18th verse it is mentioned, therefore devotee has no material afflictions. The only thing he's afraid is losing association. How can you be of a constant association? Only by remembrance. Therefore, Uddhava is requesting Lord to enlighten with the knowledge of Bhagavatam. So Uddhava is saying in the separation of Krishna, I took shelter of Bhagavatam, transcendental sound vibration. So someone who has received so much of personal association of the Lord, sound vibration acted as a shelter for such a great person. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam remains ultimate shelter for us to explain ultimate presence and association. So therefore, whole idea of a Bhagavata Shravanam reading groups like this one that we are going through is to give a culture of taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Moments when you face difficulty, you know where to take shelter. That's the purpose. So you know which pastimes to take inspiration from on a specific issue. All of the Prabhupada's purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, even Prabhupada Leelamrita. For every problem you can go that you are going to face right now, or you are facing right now in devotional life, or even outside, or even within part of ISKCON community, at somewhere or some point, Srila Prabhupada has addressed your problems specifically. Therefore, we just become aware of and use these self-help manuals that Prabhupada has left mercifully for us. So Srimad Bhagavatam is ultimate counselor. That's why, because they counsel you, force you to introspect, to dig deeper, seek solutions to issues you're facing due to the constant changes. So because changes create stress in life, actually, changes in your life continue to create stress. So if you have studied, if we study Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's purports well, you know how to respond to the situation nicely with sections to take shelter from. Which sections do we need to read? So we need to allow Prabhupada to comfort us through his words. 19th verse says, Ityavedita hartaya mahyam sa bhagavan paraha adi deshara vindaksha atmanaha paramam sthitim. So iti avedita, thus being prayed to by me. The Lord's activity in confidential love are very rarely disclosed to general devotees who are attracted by devotion mixed with knowledge and mysticism. Therefore, Uddhava saying here, hinting again, Mahyam me iti avedita hardaya, Mahyam sa bhagavan paraha. This knowledge is given to me only, is meant for me. Is again one more indication that Maitreya was sitting, but specifically that knowledge is given to Uddhava. I am the recipient of that knowledge. Specifically, there are multiple references that Maitreya is not an intimate or neither superior to Uddhava. This shows an opportunity to hear Bhagavad Gita. Fact that Uddhava started hearing Bhagavad Gita from Maitreya, despite of this shows an opportunity to comes to hear Bhagavad Gita from great souls, we should never make distinctions. Whatever is available, make use of that. That means to hear from Uddhava could have been greatest privilege. But if Uddhava was not available for speaking, if greatest speakers are not available for speaking, Uddhava does not say best is not available, I am not going to hear, because I only believe in the best, nothing but the best. Whatever was available, he took it as a fortune and heard. Similar to how we don't expect a greatest preparation by greatest cook only, then only I will eat. We don't expect that kind of. Similarly, we don't, for a practical purposes, Uddhava exhibited that quality here. Next one, 20th verse. Now Uddhava is sharing his emotional state as speaking to Vidura. I experienced deep pangs of separation of Krishna. Uddhava, supreme, the spiritual master of Uddhava is Lord Krishna himself. So he's saying that I have come to this place aggrieved due to separation. It is very important for us to know that devotional life of sadhaka is tested at various moments. So greatest test will be one to continue the devotional service in the absence of spiritual master. When you have personally been given association and given response immediately, constantly, it's always delightful, more enthusiastic, easily to remain inspired. More challenging situation is when our spiritual master is not available in person. That is most challenging. So Uddhava is in that state, shock and separation from Krishna. And that feelings of separation, he is taking the shelter of Lord Krishna's instructions. In the presence of Supreme Lord, devotee takes shelter of his instructions and service. Sorry, in the absence. So his presence inspires him, but his absence also inspires from the instructions that he remembered. So he desired that his message should be spread. So Krishna has inspired Uddhava to spread this message, give it to all sages of Bhadrika Ashram. And Uddhava started carrying these instructions in heart, just like how Prabhupada has carried his Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's instructions in his heart and came to the West and started sincerely executing those instructions. Unless one is awakened to the stage of Uddhava everlastingly, Prabhupada says, feeling the separation of Lord is transcendental love, as exhibited by Lord Chaitanya also, one cannot understand the real import of 4 essential verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. One should not indulge in the unauthorized act of twisting the meaning, thereby putting himself on the dangerous path of offense. 4 verses refer to Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana, as discussed in the Tattvas in the 2nd canto, foundational, powerful verses. Now, feeling of separation, Uddhava is saying, my dear Vidura, now I am mad for want of pleasure of seeing him. Just to mitigate this, I am now proceeding to Bhadrika Ashrama in Himalayas for association. How to deal? I'll just conclude in 5 more minutes, dear devotees. So how to deal with the separation? For association, here, Mandalam, it is mentioned as Bhadrika Ashrama Mandalam. The Mandalam means association. A pure devotee of the Lord of standard of Uddhava constantly associates with the Lord in a in a perception of simultaneous separation and meeting. The pure devotee is not for a moment unengaged in transcendental service of the Lord. So main occupation of pure devotee is service. Though the separation is unbearable, he went to Bhadrika Ashrama in obedience to the Lord's instruction. Because instruction of Lord and Lord himself are identical. So as long as one is engaged in the execution of the order of the Lord or his spiritual master, there is no factual separation from him. This is the crux of the entire purport. Only way to mitigate separation is to merge oneself into the instructions of spiritual master. Then one will not experience the separation, absorption in the execution of instruction. So 22nd verse says, it's actually a very beautiful verse. There is a Yatra Narayano Devo Narascha Bhagavan Rishihi Mrudus Tivratam tapo dirgham te pate loka bhavanau. So it is described here. We may experience many times we become selfish at our approach to Krishna consciousness. So we may take it very easily, as it is mentioned, Mrudu Tivram Tapo Dirgham. You might have seen so many sages who go to Badrikashram. You might have seen they're coming down from Himalayas, from unknown places, and they visit Kumbh Mela. And in Kumbh Mela, you happen to see the sincerity they exhibit and the austerity they follow. They're all great sages. So it is mentioned here the mentality of those great sages. So we should have a broader perspective. They are doing it for the purpose, for the benefit of the whole humanity, not just for themselves. The broader perspective. That's what we can derive the message. I am performing my tapa austerities in my seva, studying Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping deities. So all this I'm doing to purify the whole world. We might think that what are we, right? We are very small, but one should be following more Catholic approach for the practice of devotional service, not a restricted approach. Where Dhruva Maharaj was standing in the toe of the corner of universe, he never expected that his stop of breathing could affect the whole universe. But that was the reality, that the whole air in the whole universe has stopped. Krishna consciousness is not about quantity, but it's about quality. One should be convinced, if I improve the consciousness of practice of Krishna, my Krishna consciousness, then there would be a global impact. There could be an impact on the people beyond my realization. So one should not try to analyze the effect of one's devotional service using one's limited intelligence. The effects one can have is unlimited, beyond analysis. That is what is described here. Mrudutivram tapodirgham. So I'll go on. So quite a number of lessons are there. So in the last verse, actually, it is mentioned that last two verses. In 23rd verse, because Uddhava was highly advanced in transcendental knowledge, he was quite competent to pacify himself by enlightenment. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, due to our long association with bodily relations, bereavement on account of annihilation of friends and relatives is not at all astonishing, but one has to learn the art of subduing such bereavement with higher transcendental knowledge. The talks between Uddhava and Vidura on the topic of Krishna began at sunset, and Vidura was now further advanced in knowledge due to his association with Uddhava. So in the last verse, it is mentioned, while Uddhava is the chief, most confidential amongst the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura in the affection and confidence questioned him. And you can also observe seniority in Krishna consciousness is not based on chronology, it is based on realizations. It is what is described in the 24th verse. Uddhava is actually junior in age, but most advanced in the devotional service, and it has a direct association with Lord Krishna also. So that is for today, dear devotees, and thank you so much for joining. Happy Radhashtami to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarupesha kupasindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.